So I've been thinking all day about community and what I wanted to accomplish with this channel. And one of the things that I noticed recently when I was going through my analytics is that a lot of these more recent videos that I've done while I've been dealing with my injury, where I can't get down to the mat and demonstrate things regarding nutrition, or when it comes to working out, or you know a bunch of the different topics that I've covered. Some of my videos I have thousands to hundreds of thousands of views on. Some of them I have like 20 to 50. And the ones that have that low of number are the wrestling videos, the ones where I'm actually showing techniques. And I know that, it's hard for a lot of people to envision what I'm trying to demonstrate when I was doing those, because we were in lockdown, it was COVID. But really, I think that this might be the only channel on YouTube that goes through and did basics, right? When you go onto like a jiu-jitsu submission wrestling YouTube page, what you're going to see is the fancy shit. You're going to see the stuff that you have to probably have at least a blue belt to really comprehend and then be able to execute and do it well. And it's because, they want their viewership and all that. And obviously, like with my channel, like we did so much of the foundational stuff. And from what I have seen, and of course, there's the online bubble, right? There are the people that I've rolled with, which obviously I haven't really done in the last year. And also there are the people who I see on Watch Fighters, and which I feel like is a very bad slice of the community, because I don't know what you guys are working on. I don't know where you're progressing. I can't see that from where I'm at. All I see is viewership numbers. And what I've noticed is that the level of wrestling has not really progressed in that area. I am really happy that, we've seen a couple people that have joined the community who said that they were going to, give BJJ a try, and then seeing them compete and then earning their blue belts and all that. That's been very exciting for me to see. But when it comes to, the general growth that I'm seeing, it's not really there. And I'm seeing, when I'm looking through the analytics, I'm seeing, okay, the numbers haven't really reflected, viewership. Therefore, people aren't watching the videos and trying to, practice and actually get better. And so, it's really kind of triggering for me the thoughts about the community and what the community needs and what the community wants. And I'm going to kind of take this back to like kind of my experience with the leather community a little bit for a moment, which is another community that I feel kind of alienated from at the moment, just because, what I've been kind of taught is that from my ex was that in the 80s, we had the AIDS crisis, and the people that were playing in the leather community at that point in time, a lot of them got HIV, and that progressed to AIDS, and they died. And the people that were left over were the people who saw the men in leather, said that's what a real man looks like. They were turned on by that, and they were the ones that weren't playing, so they didn't get sick, and then they became kind of the representation for the community. But they were not people that were actively playing in the community as much. And so, I was friends with the late Aubrey Sparks before he passed away, and he was the type of person that would go to a leather event, like Saddlemen Leather and stuff like that, and he would go in his gardening coveralls. He would go not wearing leather at all, because he wanted to protest the appropriation of leather as a fashion statement rather than a representation of a specific community that was involved in BDSM and that type of thing. And I think that when it comes to communities, they ebb and flow. People have different ideas of what they want, and what they want to see within their community. And I think that the wrestling community is no different. I've recently started the beta, or the first release of the fetish site that Meat Fighters is putting out. and I already have like big flags for, oh my God, what the hell do they even think they're doing with this thing? And how I feel like it is representing maybe their views of kink and not really understanding that they're not representing everybody else's. And, bringing this back towards wrestling, my background is Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. It is submission wrestling. And I don't have a whole lot of experience or knowledge for Greco-Roman or folk style or freestyle or Kushti or Turkish oil wrestling or any other style or sumo or whatever you want to do at Sambo. There's so many that are out there, and even within the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu community, we have organizers out there who are making a difference in their community, such as Jason Rowe, who is the founder of Triangles Everywhere, which is a LGBTQ community for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioners, and they have, a couple times a year, meetups, either in New York City and sometimes they've had it in Hawaii and some other places around the world. And, while it might be really fun for me to go to one of those events, and I actually look forward to doing that when I'm healed. It's also, not really the community that I personally want or need, and it's because, I am a gay man, and it's not that, as you guys know, because I did a whole video on, being trans positive, but, when it comes to what I desire and what I want to be involved with, I am a gay man that enjoys rolling with other gay men. And when I do so, like, there is a different energy than what I would have in a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school. I would say that the BJJ school kind of atmosphere has a certain sterility to it. And what I mean by that is that, it is not, two gay men doing something because they get some type of homosexual enjoyment out of it. And I feel like a lot of what I see on Meat Fighters, on Watch Fighters, and in different areas is that a lot of guys are really, really about the sexual aspect about it, but they're not at all interested in the technical aspect of it. And so there is, kind of this community, and then there's the community that's really into pro and stage wrestling, and they don't want to do anything that's real because maybe they're afraid of getting hurt, or maybe they just like the fantasy aspect of it. And then, of course, there's the wrestling singlets. People do ask me fairly frequently, why do I always wear a singlet when I do these videos, or most of the time? And part of it is for trying to be more appealing to you guys. Part of it is because I actually like wearing singlets. I think that they're a very sexy thing. And for me as a gay man, it is my expression of what I want, what I like. And so, my community, the one that really, really speaks to me, is actually very, very, very small, really. Because, I am a spandex fetishist. I actually like to have the technical challenge, but I also like people that I can be me, I can be a gay man with, that I'm actually attracted to, that I get to fool around with afterwards, if that's what we kind of decide that we want to do. So there is, like, that sexual desire along with the technical desire for me, and then there's the fetish-y part of it, of, the attire that we wear. And, that is the formula that makes for me. And I've also, if you guys didn't know, I'm really into body scissors, bear hugs, and chokes and things like that. And as I've done a few videos on that as well. And so, that narrows down my community in a way, even smaller. It also opens it up. It depends on how you look at it. But, so why do I bring all this up? Well, it's because, again, one of the things that I have advocated for since the very beginning of this channel is wanting to get more people involved in leadership. this channel, a lot of ways, was about leadership. It was about me trying to raise the level of the grappling technique that was out there, so that there were more people that were, in my community. And, that didn't always happen, but it's also because, the type of people that would be really, really interested in what I have to say and what I have to do are going to be the people who are probably already doing that. And so, how do we reach out? And going back to kind of the leather community thing, is that when we look at, I was looking for like a spandex parties or gatherings and things like that, and there is Gear Blast that exists, and that is its own interesting thing, and I like that they have their dress code thing. Speaking of which, like, we have a fetish night that happens in Seattle at Sea Seattle's, that is controversial in the city, because you have a lot of people that come and then they don't realize it's fetish night. They stand in line for an hour to get in, and it's a dress code social, so you have to be in gear. And I've also clashed heads with the organizers of that, because a lot of people show up in a leather harness and a jockstrap. And they do that because it is the easiest thing in order to meet that criteria, not them waving the freak flag, right? When I go to a fetish night, I want to see people that are fully committed to and expressing something that really, really turns them on. And I don't feel that like that's what's going on there. And when people are standing in line there, people who are tourists, as you might, they're like, well, if they're not going to let me in, that's just gatekeeping and da 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 da, and they complain about it. But it's one night out of the month where those of us who are kind of freaky get to come out and be freaky, and just let us have that. Is it really that big of an imposition for you to go to one of the other 24 gay bars that are in Seattle? But what kind of the point that I'm getting to here is that, if you want something, if you want a community and you have an idea of what that community should look like, then, if it's not there, then it's really up to you to build it, right? I can do what I can to try to support you guys, to try to be an influence, but at the end of the day, I'm a guy with a YouTube channel, which, the bar for entry for that is so astronomically low that I've gotten away with not editing any of my videos for a very long time, right? And that people still watch, people still take my advice, people are still somewhat engaged. And so, take that as, okay, this is what your goal is, what you want to see in your community. My community is a very niche group here, but some of you guys that I have talked to, some of you are very, very into collegiate style wrestling, and I don't have the knowledge or experience to support you in that the way that I would like to. I would be the type of person that would show up. I would totally watch your videos. I would totally be there and be part of your community as a consumer and a very enthusiastic learner. And I mean that. And there are those of you who are very into pro wrestling, and that is a community that you need to be building. So take the skills that you have and share them. Be out there and be outgoing. When one of my goals has always been that I want to have a BJJ LGBTQ school eventually in my life. I need to get my black belt first. I need to do a lot more work than I already have to get there. I need to heal before I can get there, but it is something that I want to do. And, if you want those organizations to exist, then you have to put in the legwork to do that. If you don't have the skills, find out how to get them. If you don't know how to get them, find someone that does. It's really, the type of change that you want to see in the world has to come from you. And you can't expect me or anybody to do all the legwork for you, because they won't. I've been saying this for, pretty much since I started this channel, and what has popped up since? the leaders in this wrestling community are, me. They are Jason Rowe. They are the guys who are building the Meat Fighters website. They're the guys that started Global Fight. They're the guys that started BearHugger.net. There are people out there who are doing what they can, but we all have different skill sets. We all have different means. We all have different experiences that allow us to have power within our community. And community is really about everybody participating and building up that community till there is something amazing. There are some wrestling clubs out there. I think the San Francisco one just closed, the Golden Gate Wrestling Club. There's the one that's in New York City, which I'm forgetting, Metro Wrestling. But there used to be King's Wrestling here in Seattle, and they went under because they didn't have the amount of participation that they needed. They didn't have the support they needed. So if there is something that you want, you have to be the one to go out there and build it. Don't wait for other people to do it, because the change that you want has to come from you. So that's what I have to say for you guys. 1 week before I get cut open, I am terrified, and fingers crossed that I survive, and that things actually get better. The data's not there that says that it will. So, I'm terrified that this is the end of the line for me when it comes to wrestling, and I will hang out as long as I possibly can, but at the end of the day, I am very uncertain about my own future. So, maybe that's my motivation for doing this video, is to say that don't expect me to continue going when I might not have the ability to roll anymore. So, it's up to you guys.